this year, and it's really bucketing down. Transvaal are unchanged from that side that won on Tuesday. Henny LaRue, in some of the best form of his life, will be knocking on the door for the Sully team that beat the Maoris 26-20. Marco switches wings. Fricky Kraus comes in on the others. Will certainly be the underdogs in this final of the Supersport Fortnight series, but they too are playing in the Super 10 and they have a lot to prove. Alex Wiley really masterminded, I think, their defeat of the New Zealand Maoris, and he'll be hoping to have done something similar this time. Martin Mostert leading out the Eastern Province side. There's Adri Heldenhuis, who had a great game on Tuesday. Nico Meyer with him, and those two lots will be looking for good possession in the lineouts, but David Williams, that's going to be a problem against a huge side such as Transvaal.
That's right, but Eastern Province look as if they mean it tonight. They've been an unfashionable side for a long time, and last season in this they show that they can contest for top honours.
Transvaal side led out very purposefully by Francois Pinard.
Walking instead of running, a psychological point being made.
Now as they hit the rain, they do start to run. Well, it's a great shame that we've got these conditions underfoot and above. It rather ruined the final last year when Transvaal drew with Northern Transvaal. And just a reminder that that rule is in effect again tonight. If the scores finish tied, it will be a draw, unlike earlier in the series. Martin Mostert trying to motivate the troops.
He's been around for a while, Martin Mostert, one of the solid players of the Currie Cup and respected player by all the people he plays with and against.
Henny LaRue, who scored 5 tries so far. There's Adri Heldenhuis.
Controversial player, sometimes branded as a dirty player. Johan Roux had a good match the other night. Nippy little scrum half, aggressive, always trying things.
But it's certainly going to test all of the players. These conditions really is driving rain at the moment. A great shame because quite a big crowd is assembled here for the final.
Yeah, we had 2 spectacular nights in the semi-finals and the first round. Lovely evenings, beautiful Highveld evenings, and it's actually raining harder than it seems on the screen. It really is coming down.
Henny LaRue gets proceedings underway. The ball coming back to Ballysvart, who is like a rock. Very difficult to put a dent in Ballysvart. Immediately the rolling ball, and with the problems with handling, we might see quite a few rolling balls tonight, David.
That's right. It's one way of controlling the ball, is not actually letting it go from the body and keeping it in tight.
Midway between halfway and the 22 of EP. Johan Roux putting the ball in. That was reasonably straight for once. What went wrong there? Back it comes, and immediately Transvaal bringing Gavin Johnson into the line. But Johnson is tackled very hard indeed. And this centre pairing for Eastern Province, Martin Knutzer and Rion Potgieter, very good defensive pairing.
That tackle there by Potgieter, I think, and both tough as nails, those blokes. There won't be too many centres who get through them this season if they play like that.
And the ball going forward in the tackle, so EP winning the put in.
As I said, easy to underrate Eastern Province because they've not been fashionable, not too many big names, but tough side.
Looks like they're having all sorts of trouble winning their own ball early on. Darby Human puts in a wonderful kick under a lot of pressure, and Gavin Johnson tries to return with interest and does so. Well, that really is a remarkable kick. It's taken play all the way up to 30 metres from the Eastern Province line, from well within his own 22, and he had very little angle to work with.
50-metre touch. You can see from Johnson's hair there already how hard the rain is.
Yes, there's also a breeze sprung up, as you can see from the touch judge's flag. Darby Human, a show of the ball and keeping it amongst the forwards. We'll see a lot of that tonight. Martin Mostert goes to ground. Darby Human keeping things going again. Jaco Kirsten, who scored a try against the Maoris, but in the breakdown, The referee deciding that they went over the top.
I think not playing the ball on his feet.
Well, the halfway line, ordinarily you might just see Gavin Johnson having a go at posts here, but in these conditions I think he'll want to be a good deal closer.
It's on the halfway line but close to the touchline. Because it might be worth saying that Eastern Province might be suited better to this than Transvaal, because Transvaal almost never play in rain at home. Not used to rain at Ellis Park in the winter. Whereas Eastern Province winter rain is not uncommon.
You're sounding like a Varley having a go at Port Elizabeth. Willie Schmidt putting the ball in, and Rudolf Stroili wins it at the back of the line, but through very quickly comes Barry Pinnock. Spoiling very effectively. Johan Roux doing the tidying up for Transvaal, and that's the halfway line that has been reached, and it looks from the early encounters as if the backs are going to get a bit cold tonight, I fancy, David.
Although Eastern Province have shown a bit of enterprise, and they're certainly saying we're not going to be walked over here.
Akko Kirsten, won by Alri Heldenhuis.
Nicely controlled too.
Greg Miller's kick. And the crowd over on that side have seen some dirty play by the sounds of it, but there goes Francois Pinard. Bullocking run. Well tidied out by Ian McDonald, but knocked on in the process.
That's the beginning, I think, of many errors because of the wet ball. But again, players at this level should compensate for that, concentrate harder on their handling.
Second scrum for EP, and once again they're having trouble on their own ball. Off the back though, Ben Liebenberg.
That's well controlled.
Greg Miller hoists the high ball. It looks as if it might be a little bit too far. Gavin Johnson spills the ball though, as he looks for the mark, and the knock-on has been instantly given. I think I'd have liked to have seen the referee just play a little bit of advantage there, because EP were very quickly up.
That's right, they had their forwards there. They could have gone over. A Transvaal player looked as if he was about to play the ball on the ground. So EP a little unlucky there. They might have had the advantage.
Now, can Jaco Kirsten get a good clean heel here? No, he can't. But still it comes out. Darby Human showing the ball. Brian Potita through the middle. Crash ball from centre. Well presented again. There's space here on the left-hand side. They ship it out. It's going to be a try. No! Losing the ball in the tackle. Well, it looked for all the world as if Tony Marco simply had to turn up to score. Not a bit of it.
Didn't have the space. Let's watch it here. The ball goes out, and Transvaal have been napping. They expected to get the ball from that loose scrum. He didn't put a foot out, but he was held as he dived, and he was thrown off balance and lost the ball. Maybe the wetness of the ball not helping.
Jaco Lowe, the man who put in that try-saving tackle for Transvaal, who were under early pressure. Johan Roux putting in a huge touch finder in defence. It's super play from the little nuggety scrum half. And Pota's brother there, Darby Human from Dispatch, he'll be playing in the club championships in Durban during April. And nice little battle between he and Johan Roux, similar sort of players. Won by Ian McDonald, the referee deciding that it was the wrong hand, I think.
Interfering with the other jumpers. Straight penalty.
And the first chance to put points on the board, Greg Miller is going to go for posts.
Now this kick is about 10 metres inside the 11 metres inside the Transvaal half, but it's one of those kicks that again looks pretty easy, but in fact is difficult. It's halfway between the centre of the field and the touchline, so it's at a bit of an angle. He'll have quite a wide set of posts to look at, but it's quite far out. Also the conditions here, the wind looks as if it's come up a little bit.
We saw in the final last year that the conditions really levelled the playing field as far as Northerns were concerned, because they certainly were the underdogs against Transvaal. We might have something similar here, with EP having the first chance to put points on the board.
I think we have to say that Eastern Province deserve this. They've been fairly disruptive of the Transvaal pattern, and they've tried things.
Miller looks as if he's just pulled it, and it's hit the woodwork. Well, I must say, David, we've seen an awful lot of kicks hit the woodwork during this series.
That's right. We'll leave a coating of varnish on it. Lucky escape for Transvaal.
Henny LaRue goes for the long one and has put too much oomph into it, and that is not what his side required from that position.
Eastern Province can choose to have the kick again, or they take the scrum on the spot on the 22-metre line, which they've chosen.
A meaningful look between Francois Pienaar and his fly half during that little exchange.
Well, people say that LaRue is not the kicker he should be at top-class level. Maybe that confirmed that.
On the 22, a clean strike by Jaco Kirsten, and Ben Liebenberg is dumped by Francois Pienaar, but he gets the ball away. There goes Greg Miller, does well to make the ball available in the tackle. Taken on by Greg Halford, this New Zealand prop. Darby Human has got options here. It's taken back inside by Martin Mostert, and still the ball made cleanly available. Jaco Kirsten going for the line, very nearly there. Still the packer trying to get across. Darby Human knocks the ball on. Well, that looked like it had to be a try. But Martin Mostert chose to take the ball back to the pack when he had a big overlap on the left-hand side.
Also, Eastern Province possibly unfortunate there. Transvaal standing offsides with that ruck when the ball was coming out. And Pienaar arguably committed a late tackle before that.
Henny LaRue just manages to get the kick away under severe pressure, and Rian Pothita, Francois Langeberg shepherds it into touch. So Henny LaRue is living on his wits at the moment.
Had two brilliant games in the first two rounds. But as I say, question mark perhaps over his kicking, and nothing done to dispel that tonight yet. He's going to have to do a bit of kicking tonight. They won't be able to run the way they did in the semi-finals.
So Jaco Kirsten putting it in on the Transvaal 22. Not happy about something. Trying to do the referee's job by the looks of things. Audrey Heldenhuis got hands to it. They're going to have a scrum down.
Looked like a knock.
Of time to set up the kick, but eventually puts in an
But Eastern Province have put Henny LaRue under pressure tonight. I think Transvaal are a bit surprised at the commitment from EP.
Well, that man Heldenhuis has done very well in the early lineouts.
Would like to meet him on a dark night.
Fancy the selectors might have an eye on Audrey. Oh, still haven't had a clean line out. Darby Human getting things going very quickly and finding some space with that kick, and Transvaal are all offside. And now there's a chance, as Darby Human tries to recover from what must have been a late tackle, there's a chance again for Greg Miller to put points on the board. I wonder whether he turned his ankle.
Difficult to see from this. There comes the kick, and there comes Francois Pienaar. That's a late tackle. No question that that's a late tackle, and that's where the penalty came from. Not where the tackle took place, but rather where the ball landed. That's the second late tackle that Pienaar has committed tonight.
Well, Alistair Coetzee is the scrum half on the bench for Eastern Province. Francois Pienaar has twice, as you say, David, put in a couple of tackles that could be deemed late. And Darby Human obviously keeping up the family name. You're going to have to run him over with a steamroller to get him off the field.
Well, this penalty is more kickable than the last one. It's closer to the centre of the field, but on the 10-metre line for Transvaal. So it's not an easy kick.
Well, a reminder, we've got a couple of competitions for you tonight. As usual, we'll be asking you to call in with your man of the match, and we'll also be asking you for another name tonight, the man of the series. 2,000 rand from Ford if you get the man of the series and your name is out of the hat first, and 1,000 rand for the man of the match. So there's 3,000 rand on offer tonight, and the number 089 110 4321. That will be open for half an hour at the end of the game. Here's Greg Miller then, trying to open the account. Strikes it nicely, and this time it has crept in, and Eastern Province, with 11 minutes gone of the game, lead by 3 points to 0.
Eastern Province deserved that, and Transvaal deserved to have been penalised in that way. It was a late tackle by the Springbok captain Francois Pienaar that led to those 3 points being scored against Transvaal.
Henny LaRue. Up into the lights, and not too easy for forwards looking up into rain and light to really get an angle on proceedings.
There's a lean and hungry look for him. Let me have men about me.
One at the back by Rudolf Stroili, but it's loose and taken on by Martin Mostert. A little bit of a dust-up between he and Hannes Stradum. You can see less of that. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
I think what we're seeing here is an Eastern Province that is saying we're not being messed around with, and they're being very aggressive.
10-metre line of Eastern Province. Back it comes to Henny LaRue, who launches the high kick, but that's far, far too far. Well collected by Francois Langeberg, who did very well. That ball coming over the shoulder from the lights with the rain, not an easy one at all.
First time that Transvaal have got really this close to Eastern Province. That skew put in, and as we were saying earlier, some of the referees seem to just leave that now. It's become almost like rugby league. It's a means of restarting with no rules required in this game. Excellent jump here. Now's the time for Transvaal to apply the kind of control and pressure they applied in the semi-finals.
It's rolling towards the line. Those big men with hands on the ball. Very difficult for EP to defend against this. They're doing their best.
Good technique by Eastern Province. Not easy to stop this.
Spark. Cobus Wiese is over for the try. Big Cobus Wiese fell on his back, but had enough presence of mind to dot the ball down for the try that puts Transvaal into the lead. With 14 minutes gone, they lead by 5 points to 3.
Here we see Transvaal's experience at controlling the ball, passing it from hand to hand. Very difficult to stop this kind of thing. Here comes Cobus Wiese through. 3 men trying to stop him there, but he manages to keep that hand loose and ground the ball. There he comes again. The scrum half gets in there. Davy Human. 2 big men trying to stop him, but once he's on the way down, there's no way that they're going to.
A good low body position initially, which helped him to get over the line.
Now, when Eastern Province were in a similar position at the other side of the field, they didn't control it in that way, and that was a crucial difference.
Well, Gavin Johnson with the first kick at goal for him tonight. Not the easiest one, but the sort of kick that he has been regularly striking in the last 12 months. Just pulling it to the left, and so with 15 minutes gone, Transvaal leading by 5 points to 3. Oh, here's that try from Cobus Wiese. A nice little freeze frame for you, and one for the mantelpiece for Cobus.
Wiese a couple of years ago was regarded as too fat and too old and not good enough to play at this level, and he's really proved the critics wrong.
It's gone a bit scrappy from the restart. Johan Roux tidying things up with that nice left-footed kick. Another man who looks lean and hungry, doesn't he, Johan Roux? Francois Pienaar and Ben Liebenberg at the back.
Referee watching there for Eastern Province offsides.
Henny LaRue has been sacked due to that offside.
The referee had his eye on that.
And a quick restart. Uli Schmidt feeding Henny LaRue. In came Bernard Farid looking for the ball. Now Johan Roux with the little reverse pass. Bally Spark did very well indeed. Here goes Francois Pienaar. They're over the halfway. Johan Roux again gets it out well. The referee deciding, I think, Hans feeding the ball back illegally for Transvaal, and it'll be a penalty for Eastern Province.
Great pity that, because Transvaal had the initiative, and Eastern Province would have been blown for offsides pretty soon because they were going backwards and getting desperate. There comes Francois Pienaar playing in the fly half position yet again. coming through, taking 2 men to get him down, gets it back. Kobus Visser unable to take it. And here we see Transvaal actually coming in the wrong side, although the maul hasn't started. Pienaar playing the ball on the ground there.
Andy Leroux retreating because the kick from Francois Langeberg has taken play as close as that to the Transvaal line. That's the 22 metres on the left. Jaco Kirsten putting it in. Adrie Heldenhuis looked like he was lifted. And Davy Human thought that it had gone his way.
Could have been either side, really. Pretty often in the line-outs.
I think the definition of a microsecond is the time it takes for the ball to leave the hooker's hand to when the whistle blows.
Most line-outs are like that.
Nice touch from Gavin Johnson. There's big Kobus Visser, the try scorer.
Visser's looking pretty fit for this time of the season. He's a big man, difficult to keep his weight in order, and he looks pretty fit for March.
10-metre line of Transvaal. Taken at the front by Greg Halford, one of the shortest men. The up and under from Greg Miller. EP are there in numbers, but it's well taken by Gavin Johnson. On the retreat, albeit. But Transvaal forwards around there very well. Kobus Visser is there at the back, feeding Johan Roux. Sweetly back to Henny Leroux, who has a little bit of a shuffle before deciding to kick for touch and not finding touch. Langeberg gives it to Tony Marco. That looked like a bit of a slap in the face. There goes big Willie Meyer trying to set up the next phase. Here it comes. On goes Ben Liebenberg, this tall number 8. Davy Human again. Good play this from Eastern Province. That wasn't quite so intelligent. There was a little bit of space on the left-hand side. Human to Miller. Miller looking for the drop goal. Took rather too long about it. And there was plenty of time for the charge down. Gavin Johnson trying to tidy things up for Transvaal under their own posts.
You can see the influence of Alex Wiley, the former All Black there. Forwards coming in fast, sharp and hard.
Quick ruck ball for EP. That's been the secret of the first half. But it's won by Transvaal. And this time Bernard Fourie is the man who looks for touch and doesn't find it. Taken by the new man, Frikkie Kraus. His first touch of the ball, by my reckoning.
A bit surprising too that Miller went for the drop goal there, because they had Transvaal on the ropes almost, retreating, kept winning the ball from the ruck and the loose, and the try line was getting closer.
Well, the first water break, I'm sure the players have got other ideas than water breaks with so much of it around. But there is the score at the water break. We'll be back shortly. Welcome back after the water break, which is still going on. And the water continues to descend at length from the heavens. Eastern Province in the lead by, well, they were in the lead 3-0, they're now losing by 5-3. And here is our prospect of the season, Johan Barnard for Western Province. So we've seen some good rugby during the night series, but that's one man who has impressed us quite a bit. The open side flanker for Western Province. We'll be keeping an eye on him this season. So we're going to restart with a line out just inside the 10-metre line of Transvaal. Ollie Schmidt to be putting it in for the Vaal, but back it comes on the EP side. And what a surprise, the whistle's gone.
Difficult to know what that was.
Oh, quick tap from Johan Roux, launches the bomb. There are people queuing for it. Francois Langeberg showing excellent technique under the high ball, under severe pressure. And back it comes. This is really good play from Eastern Province, who seem to have shifted up a gear from when they played the Maoris on Tuesday. There goes Gavin Johnson with that nice little sidestep, but doesn't get outside his man, Tony Marco. Rian Potgieter trying to recycle the ball for Eastern Province. Back it comes. A little bit of a fluff from Greg Miller, but he's still got time to launch the ball into acres of space. Peter Hendricks running out of defence for Transvaal, did very well indeed. And who was there at the breakdown? Of course, Francois Pienaar. Rudolf Stroili doing well as well for Transvaal. And there's space here on the left-hand side for Transvaal, on the right-hand side I should say. Across the line it comes, and Ian McDonald knocks it on when a quick pass to Jaco Low would have given him something of a clear run.
Ian McDonald very upset with himself there, but perhaps some mitigation with the wet weather, wet ball. But he's not used to playing in the centre position. Eastern Province played very well there. They got good, fast ruck ball, as you were saying earlier. They looked in control. They knew where they were going.
Ballyswart having the ice pack applied.
And then, of course, Transvaal counter-attacked very well. Managed to get away.
Well, if Bally doesn't recover from this, Harry Roberts will come onto the field.
There comes Peter Hendricks, getting away, but not quite. Manages to get the pass in to Pienaar, who seems to be everywhere tonight. He gets the pass in, comes round to Rudolf Stroili. The tackle comes in there, and then the second phase move started. Now, normally, if a side can do this twice or three times, they will score, because the defence can't get across the field 3 times in a row. Goes out again, Pienaar hanging about there. Henny LaRue is playing a good game. And we'll see Ian McDonald coming in there. There's Gavin Johnson gets it after the skip pass, and there's the pass to McDonald. And they had the extra man there. They had the extra man.
Well, Ballyswart is retreaded. And off we go again. Johan Roux restarting quickly, almost too quickly for his own side, but back it comes again. This is better play from Transvaal. Johan Roux again across the gain line, but it's lost in the tackle. Jaco Kirsten is looking to restart for EP, but referee bringing them back. Jaco Kirsten, whose collar has come off, which suggests that somebody's given him a little bit of a love tap.
That was lost forward by Transvaal there, hence the scrum to Eastern Province.
Back they go again. Eastern Province under all sorts of pressure from Transvaal, but they've done well.
Big problems in the scrum for EP.
Gavin Johnson with room to move, launches the high kick. It's really a little bit too deep, but the mark is missed by Francois Langeberg, who does very well to recover from that situation. That was great presence of mind from the fullback.
That would be an interesting thing for the experts to talk about. Let's look at this. Some dirty play here, possibly. Johan Roux taken down there. McDonald coming in. Knocked forward there, it seems. And they're trying to retrieve it. That would be an interesting discussion for the academic student of rugby. Was that a knock or not? Because he seemed to touch it before it fell through, but it didn't seem to fall forward. So therefore is not a knock.
Comes out loosely. There goes Uli Schmidt. Takes on his man as ever. Over the gain line. Back it comes. Henny LaRue, Bernard Fourie, Jarpi Mulder, Peter Hendricks. There goes Mulder again. Very well to come round on the loop there. Transvaal very close. Can they get the ball alive? They've lost it. Francois Langeberg is scragged and has to concede the minor. Ian McDonald, the man who knocked on earlier on, was there very quickly, and Francois Langeberg has had to concede that 5-metre scrum.
Very difficult for him there, under pressure. It wasn't his fault his forwards were battling there. And of course the wet ball just slowed him down that extra half second. Uli Schmidt running extremely well here. Tries the dummy, slams there into Greg Miller and manages to lay it back. And this is where Transvaal have been so effective. When Roux gets the ball and broken play is happening, out it goes quickly, Henny LaRue.
Alistair Coetzee is warming up. And the squeeze on from Transvaal. They're winning the scrums easily, looking for the pushover try here. EP are doing desperately, trying to disrupt this rolling ball as it's now become. The ball flicked out, but there must have been an offside there.
Also, one thinks the referee might have blown that scrum because it actually had ceased to exist. And if the scrum breaks up, he has to blow. He can't simply let it fall apart. Now, this looks like possibly a bit of dirty play here.
Now, who is he going to give a lecture to?
A bit of confusion here.
No, they're switching whistles. Nothing to do with dirty play at all, David. How could you possibly suggest such a thing?
Whenever you see the touch judge talking to the ref, that's the sanction, I suppose.
Sounded like a nice tone to me.
He's given a penalty to Eastern Province.
Seems to have reversed the original decision. Francois Langeberg finds touch, and that will relieve them quite some bit.
There's the fullback for Eastern Province, having a good game, coming up quickly in attack, and being fairly safe at the back, except for that one miss of a wet ball.
Big Rudolf Stroili, who's winning a lot of good ball in the line-out for Transvaal. Aimed at Straydom that time, didn't manage to get hold of it. Darby Human doesn't find touch. There goes Peter Hendricks. Now he's going to launch the high ball. That looks a little bit too long to me, but it's hanging, and this is desperate stuff for EP. Once again, Langeberg may be forced to minor the ball. Transvaal up there very quickly indeed. They thought they might have poached a try, but it wasn't to be.
I think Ollie Schmidt might well claim that was a try. It looked as if he was the first to ground it. Didn't look as if an Eastern Province man grounded that. Let's have a look here. There are three of them there, and they didn't manage to control it. Just a metre before the line.
Well, this time they are going for the pushover by the looks of things.
The scrum has collapsed.
Henny LaRue is in there at the back helping the push. Francois Pienaar now looking for the try line himself. He's been buried and he may well lose the ball, but no, in fact, over the top from EP
and offsides. Penalised there for offsides. Transvaal not taking the points here. You'd think with the score at 5-3 they would go for the 3 points, but they believe they can get 7. Taking a bit of a risk.
Now, who's going to be the ball carrier here? Flipped up to Rudolf Stroili, over the line, and Kobus Wiese has got his second try of the evening. Well, it's raining lock tries.
Doesn't happen too often to a lock forward to score 2 tries. Transvaal confident in doing this. Out it goes into Stroili, and didn't quite control that, but it did go to hand, and you don't stop Kobus Wiese when he's 2 metres from the line and going at full pace.
Yeah, for the rest of the game, he's going to be looking for his hat-trick.
That was an adventurous risk by Francois Pienaar. Another captain, maybe he in a different situation would have gone for the 3 points.
Off the uprights, and none out of 2 for Gavin Johnson. When was the last time that happened? So, 10 points to 3. We've got 5 minutes left of the first half.
He wasn't concentrating when he kicked that. There we see Stroili taking it. The ball actually pops out of his hand. He didn't control it, but it went fortunately for Transvaal to Kobus Wiese's hand. So it's scored now 10 points to 3, Xerox Transvaal.
Kobus Wiese looking to get hands to it and demanding that they have the scrum on the midway point.
I was saying earlier he looks pretty fit, Andy, and he's most of the time he's running to the point of breakdown, which you don't often see from the tight forwards towards the end of the first half.
Obviously helps when you've scored 2 tries.
He's feeling good. This Eastern Province scrum has had a lot of problems. They've either broken up or been pushed back.
It's not easy to strike against it when it's put into the second row, is it? Here we go again, Jaapie Mulder. Peter Hendricks finds Francois Pienaar. He's having a big game tonight, over the 10-metre line. Can they make it available? Johan Roux finds Henny LaRue. Now a little bit of an angled run from Bernard Farid. Back towards the pack. There goes Ollie Schmidt. Crowd thought that was a bit high on Ollie. Roux finds Henny LaRue. On his shoulder is Bernard Farid again. Crash ball. Henny LaRue stabs the ball through. Something to chase. And as close as that to the line.
Henny LaRue playing in close to his forwards and doing the right thing there, as if by instinct.
Big Barley.
Barley's giving the Eastern Province opposite number pretty hard time. That Transvaal front row is intimidating the Eastern Province side. Eastern Province have shown that they're not going to be overwhelmed, but they're battling in the scrums, and that has a debilitating effect on the rest of it.
Ian McDonald very nearly won that at the back, but instead is poached by Barry Pinnock. Nice work from that man, Darby Human, who's doing very well behind a beaten pack today.
Hurt his foot earlier, looks as if he's recovered. Here comes Johan Roux sending it out. Henny LaRue dummies inside, which he does so well. 3 or 4 Eastern Province players getting confused there. And Eastern Province tackling is committed. There's Human waiting for it to come out. Rue again in right position.
Ian McDonald wins the line out at the back. Johan Rue going through the line. And a penalty for Transvaal. I'm sure they'll kick it this time.
That's just inside the Eastern Province 10-metre line. And about 20 metres inside, 15 metres inside the field.
Just 2 minutes left in this first half. There's the score.
Well, Johnson will have given himself a shake because he missed that conversion, which was almost in front of the post. It looked like a lapse in concentration, so he'll really want to get this over, restore his pride.
But just a constant reminder, it's not a night for kickers in Ellis Park. The rain's still pouring down.
Still think he should have got that conversion. It's further than it looks. It's about 35 to 40 metres.
This time it's clean and through the middle. And with 2 minutes left in the first half, Transvaal leading by a 10-point margin, 13 points to 3.
Here's the Transvaal manager, Wally Walters. He's been associated with Transvaal for a long time. From bad times to good. I'm not sure that Eastern Province deserve to be 13-3 down.
Well, I think the important thing is that Transvaal, when they have got into Province's half, have always looked like scoring. And they've got 2 tries on the board because of it.
And that EP scrum has caused problems. They've been very good in the rucks and mauls in the loose, but the scrum, the tight scrum, has been a problem.
Martin Knutzer resetting that, and Darby Human's high ball is quite a testing one. Knocked backwards. There's a bit of pressure here on Transvaal. Ball's gone loose. Jaco Low falls on it, but the referee had already blown for a knock-on.
There's an Eastern Province knock-on that he's blown for. It looked like Ian McDonald knocking it back, in fact. The knock-on came later.
There it was.
There's
Ben Liebenberg, the man who knocked it on. And in fact, a penalty was given, so it must have been a deliberate knock-on, in the opinion of the referee.
Well, difficult not to try it on when you're 5 metres from the line.
It's a lovely clearance kick, and that is half-time, which has come right on schedule, with Xerox Transvaal leading Eastern Province by 13 points to 3. And the Province bench, with Alex Wiley in the middle of it, will have a lot of things to talk about at half-time. But certainly there has been plenty of good rugby for me, but they're all playing for Transvaal, are defending it, of course, and EP are hoping to beat them at their own game. 2 tries from Transvaal. Here's the first of them from Big Cobus Visa off the back of that scrum, and a little dot down despite the attentions of many EP players. And it was the lock again from this tap penalty who also scored. We seem to have lost the pitches. Our apologies. Greg Miller waiting to start the second half. So the scoreline, 13 points to 3, Transvaal leading. And Eastern Province need to reassert themselves somewhat in this third quarter. They started the game very well, but rather went off the boil towards the end. Johan Rue finds Henny LaRue with that flat bullet pass. And LaRue puts in an enormous touch finder, takes play up to halfway. Took a little while to settle down in the game, didn't he, David? But he's done some good things.
That's right. In fact, the whole of Transvaal, they looked a little bit surprised by Eastern Province's commitment in the first 10 minutes and then settled down nicely and controlled it. Eastern Province have problems in the scrum, but certainly their play in the loose and the rucks and mauls has been committed and fast, and they could still score a try or two here.
At the halfway line, Jaco Kirsten putting the ball into a full line, and we've had full lines throughout the evening. There goes Uli Schmidt, acting the scrum half role, but being rather buried, and it's come back on the EP side.
They've done this well.
Darby Human feeds Greg Miller, and Miller launches the high kick. Looks as if he's got too much distance on it. Plenty of time for Gavin Johnson to make the mark. Johnson doesn't take any time at all over kicking for touch, but he hasn't found touch. Out there is Greg Miller, restarting proceedings up to the halfway line. Langeberg to Darby Human, who stays on his feet just long enough for the pack to arrive. They drive over. This is good stuff. Alex Wiley has obviously drilled his men well in the rucking. Ben Liebenberg loses the ball a little bit there, but the restart going well. There goes Tony Marco. He's switched wings for this game following the injury to Marnie van Vuren. A little bit of a burst from Henny LaRue. Give him a space and he'll be in for a try, but not tonight. Johan Roux putting the ball deep into the EP22. Langeberg. Has he found touch? No, he hasn't. It's been knocked on by Ian MacDonald for the second time tonight, and MacDonald really must be kicking himself.
Yeah, that's the second time, and I think the rain has eased a bit, but that ball is still certainly very wet. One thinks that maybe one of the wings or the fullback or someone else should have got in there and called for that.
Darby Human feeds Greg Miller a little bit too high, but Miller tidies up well, finding a bit of space down there. Gavin Johnson is isolated and loses the ball in the tackle. Peter Hendricks will wait for the whistle, and here it comes now.
Effectively lost forward there. I think what he was trying to do was perhaps slip out of the tackle.
Sheeting down, not quite as hard as it was early in the first half, but it's very unpleasant conditions indeed.
Problems in the front row there. You need to bind straight and keep each other up.
And the EP front row is obviously having trouble. I wonder whether big Franz Erasmus might be around for the Super 10 series to add a little bit of bulk to that front row.
That's right. It's not a well-known front row, Halford, Kirsten and Meyer, compared to Barley Swart, Uli Schmidt and Johan LaRue. That's a formidable front three.
A lovely little chip kick from Greg Miller. Very nearly caught, but here goes Rudolf Stroili over the 10-metre line. A really fine run from the number 8 forward. Ian MacDonald acting as scrum half. Now here comes Bernard Ferry, but the ball lost, and surely it'll be a knock-on with an EP put in.
That was a good tackle by Francois Langeberg, the Eastern Province fullback, on Stroili. Not an easy man to stop. He's a man mountain and going full speed there. Here you see Langeberg about to come in and tackle. There he comes now. Excellent tackle.
Well, I don't quite understand how Transvaal got the put into that scrum, but the referee is all-knowing. Here goes Stroili again. This time it's rather telegraphed, but MacDonald manages to make it available. Tony Marco coming in.
EP knocked on to concede that scrum. There's the engine room with all its cogs and wheels and dirt. He's a candidate for man of the match, Andy. 2 tries tonight, both from driving play close to the line. And he's looking as if he's enjoying his rugby.
And a reminder, we want a man of the match and a man of the series from you tonight. 2 names, please. Here comes Johan Roux. Henny LaRue looking for that loop move in the centre. Bernard Ferry through the first tackle. And if Henny LaRue could have taken that pass, he might well have been clear. The referee has blown for the knock-on, as I'm bound to say must have done. Henny LaRue knocked it on.
Eastern Province unfortunate not to have got a penalty from that scrum, because the EP forwards who'd broken away and were lying off sides, and the backs also came up very quickly there, which might explain why Transvaal looked so hemmed in.
Better scrum from EP, although it has gone around a little way. Darby Human, Greg Miller looks for touch and finds it, and Greg Miller's had a good series. No frills, and tends to use the boot more often than letting the ball out, but certainly has played very well. Just a reminder, those 2 names, man of the match, man of the series, at the end of the game. The lines will be open for half an hour. 089 110 4321. And as you can see, it's pouring with rain now. Very unpleasant conditions. Back of the line, untidy ball.
Well done by Roux.
Looking for the drop goal. Henny LaRue's kick those, charged down.
Remember, against Western Province, he got a brilliant drop goal taken at speed with very little time. Trying it again here.
A very good charge down from Barry Pinnock.
Difficult to know why EP are holding it so long. They're battling in the scrums. They're just tiring their forwards.
Greg Miller left-footed this time, and the left foot not quite as good as the right foot. Yako Low feeds it out to Bernard Fourie. He's done some good dirty work in the centre for Transvaal today. And in touch on the 10-metre line of Eastern Province.
Barry Pinnock, the Eastern Province 8th man's getting through a lot of work. Not a fussy player, but he's been there just about every time when there's been a breakdown.
In fact, the number 6, Barry Pinnock, normally plays at 8th man, but he's on the flank today, and Ben Liebenberg, who was on the flank on Tuesday, has moved back to number 8. I must say Mark Wood played well enough in that game after coming on to make me think that he would be first choice, but not the case. Well taken by Nico Meyer, Audrey Heldenhuis, I should say. A little bit of chat. There's the 22-metre line. Francois Pinard, can he make it available? Yes, he can. But the ball was loose, and Audrey Heldenhuis did very well indeed. Here goes Darby Human, takes a little bit of a sidestep outside that tackle from Ballyswar, and an excellent kick under pressure has taken play all the way up towards halfway.
Good pressure by Ballyswar there. Not normally the job of a prop forward.
Darby Human got a knock early in the first half and doesn't look to be moving freely, but it'll take a truck to take him off the field, I fancy. Nico Meyer and Copus Visa, and there's Audrey Heldenhuis on the right of your screen.
Heldenhuis had a good start to the game, but he's been a bit quiet.
This time looking at Ben Liebenberg at the back of the line, but comes back on the Transvaal side.
That must be a knock by Eastern Province. Johan Roux, most difficult job on the field in some ways, because he's getting most of the ball on a rainy night. And he's got to decide how it's going to play. He's doing it well.
Francois Pinard was off very quickly indeed there, and that ball went forward. That was obviously a rehearsed move, and Rudolf Stroily fluffed his lines.
McDonald looked a bit surprised too. I think it was probably meant for Roux.
The scrum of EP looks a little bit more steady, but the hold on the ball of Greg Miller is a good deal less steady. Referee playing advantage here. Gavin Johnson coming into the line. Feeds Jarpi Mulder at pace down the left-hand side. Peter Hendricks, record try scorer for Transvaal, loses the ball in the tackle.
Well, there you saw two instances of the ball being lost because of the wet ball. I thought the Transvaal crowd a bit unsporting to jeer Greg Miller there for dropping it. Here comes Hendricks going for the line. Now that's the 25-metre. It looks as if he might make it in the corner, but Langeberg well positioned there. Another good tackle. Early on he got Stroily. In another situation on a dry night, Hendricks might well have held on to that and set up the second phase.
Real pressure being put on the front row by Transvaal here. And this is more of what we saw early in the first half. Real pressure. And as a result, the ball is turned over. And Transvaal are as close to the line as that.
Now, with the kind of dominance that Transvaal have got in the scrum, this should lead to a try.
Garvey Human continuing to have problems with that foot that he hurt in the first half.
There goes Johan Roux going round, anticipating the ball coming out. I think it was out for a moment and then got sucked back in. Eastern Province might have conceded a penalty there for handling on the ground and holding. But it's become a scrum.
And Darby Human doesn't look at all happy. He had attention to that ankle early in the first half. He's played on, but a second bang on it has obviously really hurt. Here's Alistair Coetzee, the scrum half on the bench.
He's been around a couple of years for Eastern Province. Good player in the scrum half mould of quite aggressive and cheeky, and doesn't allow himself to be intimidated. Himon got injured in a late tackle by Francois Pinard, which led to 3 points being scored by Eastern Province, and that's still the only 3 points they've had.
Well, the score 13 points to 3, and we've had 10 minutes of the second half. Now here's Alistair Coetzee taking his place. Looking for the pushover. You can see it's the 9-man shove. Johan Roux and Peter Hendricks now acting as scrum half as Roux attempts to add his weight to that. But it's come across on the EP side. We saw quite a lot of that against the Maoris the other night. They did tend to poach a lot of ball. Alistair Coetzee's first touch is to hoik the ball into touch under great pressure.
Well, that was pulling back a try from the brink. It was almost on there. And it just seemed to pop out of whoever was controlling it there in the Transvaal ruck. Here we see it come out. Could see a manages to get it. And how he gets this kick is difficult to understand. Smothered there by McDonald, but he managed to get his boot to it.
That's the try line you can see. And if they get clean ball here, Transvaal are going to be very difficult to stop. Well, it's bouncing around like a pinball. A poor pass for once from Johan Roux. Bernard Fourie again standing up and waiting for the pack to come around, doing an excellent job. And Transvaal have got a second surge on here. Rolling the ball around to the left. This is how the first try arrived. EP are under great pressure here. Now it comes out. Roux feeds Henny LaRue. Yapi Mulder is banged down in the centre by Rian Pophita. Still it comes back on the Transvaal side. They must score here surely. Peter Hendricks tries to go around the outside and does not have the legs. Francois Pinard. Ollie Schmidt, he's going to go straight for the line. Still chances for Transvaal here. Cobus Visa looking for his hat-trick. Surely not. The whistle has gone. And offside, I fancy. It's been taken quickly. Johan Roux is over the line. It's a try. Sort of thing that Johan Roux does so well at short range. Very difficult to stop.
Also difficult to know how that penalty was allowed with a couple of Transvaal players in front of the ball when it was kicked. This try was inevitable, the way Transvaal were playing, but they also lucky. There was almost a late tackle just before the referee blew the whistle there by Francois Pinard. Earlier on there was an offsides by Transvaal, which might have been penalised, but they certainly deserve this in terms of pressure play. I'm still worried about the number of Transvaal players in front of the ball when that penalty was taken.
Secret to that try was keeping the ball alive. It looked as if it had gone dead on 2 or 3 occasions, but Transvaal managed to keep it going, and the try was the result. And there is the conversion wide out from Gavin Johnson. That's typical of the man. He misses an easy one and then gets one from the touchline.
That's right. He's looking much happier now. He had battled a bit in the first half. Johan Roux had a good season already, and he must be a man who must be a candidate to tour with the Springboks again.
So Transvaal beginning to stretch away. Eastern Province have done a lot of good things in this game, but Transvaal have looked very threatening when they've got into their opponent's 22. 3 tries, 2 in the first half, and now this one from Johan Roux. And a real mountain to climb for Eastern Province with 14 minutes gone in the second half.
Eastern Province are looking quite efficient in getting the ball back from the rucks, but their big men aren't dominating individually as Cobus Visa, Rudolf Streulier.
Audrey Heltenhuis got hands to that, and a penalty against Transvaal for going through the line. It'll be interesting what the option here is. It looks as if they're going to kick through Greg Miller.
They're about 35, 40 metres out there, 15 metres in from the touchline, so it's an awkward kick, but not impossible by any means.
It's a reminder of that number at the end of the game, 089 110 4321. We want 2 names from you, a man of the series, and we've had some terrific play. It doesn't necessarily have to come from one of these 2 teams, and a man of the match. £2,000 on offer from Ford for the man of the series and £1,000 for the man of the match. And we'll be announcing the names in Supersport on Saturday.
Trailing by 17 points, they need this to get back in the game. 20 minutes to go. Trailing by 20 points to 2.
And he's pushed it right. Really wasn't very well struck at all. It hardly had the distance. Oh, a quick restart from Johan Roux. Underneath the ball is Alistair Coetzee. Stabs the ball through. That's a lovely kick.
When you look at Alistair Coetzee, you realise how whittled the others are.
Played against the French last year for the development 15 down at Velcom and had a pretty good game.
It's been raining for most of the evening, but it looks as if it might have just about stopped now. change. It looks like a very impeccably drawn-up line-out. They're the right distance apart and from each other.
Lifting in the centre, according to the referee.
It couldn't last.
Sear lifts the high ball, but he's got a little bit too much distance on it. Plenty of time for Gavin Johnson to make the mark.
Eastern Province looked a bit uncertain as to what to do with that penalty.
Restarts almost rugby league style. Out of their own 22. Lovely running. Yapi Mulder, always a good man to straighten the run. Alistair Coetzee is there to try and spoil. Referee playing some advantage. And now Bernard Fourie to Rudolf Stroili. Willie Schmidt on the left-hand wing. But the referee's whistle is gone. I sometimes wonder whether really should be wearing the number 11.
He enjoys all the numbers which go from 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Likes popping up in odd places of the field, gets a run with the ball.
Well, I suppose 1 and 1 do make 2. Then Liebenberg. Coetzee's kick. Has it gone too far? Yes, it has.
Coetzee's making a bit of an impression on the game. He looks fresh and he's popping up in the right places, making a couple of tackles. Water break.
And the second half try, attack penalty from Johan Roux in the corner. And despite the attentions of 2 defenders, he gets underneath them both, gets the ball down for a good try.
Yeah, Eastern Province looked a bit disorganised there, but they had been under pressure for about 5 minutes, Transvaal on their line, and eventually I think they just didn't have the resources to keep the next drive out. And Roux, of course, always difficult to take a tackle because he keeps low, goes in fast.
Transvaal seem to be getting stronger as the game gets older, and must be hot favourites to retain the first of the 4 trophies that they won last year. The second one, of course, the Super 10, that's underway next week. And I would say that they're probably favourites to retain that trophy as well. Johan Roux, Henny Leroux, Bernard Fourie. There's the crash ball from Francois Pienaar, who's found all sorts of space. There goes Cobus Wiese, who's already scored 2 tries. A little bit of space on the right-hand side. Yapi Mulder loses the ball in the tackle.
You feel that Mulder might have let it go on there and then perhaps try and set up the second phase rather than battle through and lose the ball. Transvaal looking very much in control now. Here it comes out. Henny Leroux again distributing nicely. Either runs well or distributes quickly. Pienaar taking it again and a scissors movement there. Looked as if he was going to slice right through the middle. Could see a waiting there, but then taken by 2 people.
Transvaal driving for the line. Rudolf Stroili has the help. And there goes, is it Johan Roux again?
No, it's a penalty against. He carried the ball over 2 movements.
Yes, I think it's a good call. Johan Roux can't believe it. We'll have a chance to see it again. He won't.
If you're grounded with the ball, you must release it. And you see here he's brought down about half a metre from the line. And there goes the second movement. And the referee, watching for the try, gives the penalty to Eastern Province.
A good decision from the penalty. Momentum can carry you over, but you mustn't make 2 movements. And there were certainly 2 movements there.
It's one of those things also where the hand goes up and the players aren't too particular about which hand it is. And of course it was the one on the Eastern Province side that time. This line out is just inside the Eastern Province 10-metre line.
Jaco Kirsten putting the ball in. Just a little bit unsure of the call. Now he is, and it does come back from Martin Mostert, but the referee, as ever tonight, blows up.
In crooked there, so Transvaal get the scrum. They may have the option of a line-out again or a scrum, but the scrum is so much easier to control. Particularly tonight, Eastern Province's scrum has not been happy with that powerful Transvaal front row.
There's that move that fell so sadly wrong about 10 minutes ago, and it hasn't worked very well this time either. Alistair Coetzee was through quickly, but perhaps too quickly.
Coetzee without his number. I reckon Francois Pienaar was playing the ball while held in the tackle on the ground there, but the referee didn't see it.
Instead, it's a penalty to Transvaal on the 10-metre line.
I think that was for offsides. And
it looks like Gavin Johnson is going to kick for goal.
That's a reasonable thing to do. It's been very wet and greasy, the ball. They've tried a lot of things. You can't blame them now for just having a bit of a breather, because it's not only going for posts, it does give the forwards a bit of a chance to regroup, give the backs who've been running hard a chance to get their breath. Still 15 minutes to go. And of course, if he gets the 3 points as well, well, that puts them 20 points clear with only 14 minutes to go. Can't blame Transvaal for not being adventurous tonight. They've done very well. I must say that I think Eastern Province have put up a better fight than Western Province did last week.
That's a nice kick from Gavin Johnson, and it takes Transvaal with 13 minutes left in the game into a 23 points to 3 lead.
Always the time in the game where the side that's behind, it's very tempting to just go through the motions for the last 10 minutes or so. Eastern Province went into this match looking very committed. Are they still committed?
Hannah Stratham lifted up towards the ball, offside. Another quick restart. Transvaal really fancy their chances of scoring a few more tries here, but sloppy play has allowed to put into the scrum to Eastern Province. Rudolf Strawley's done some good things and some bad things tonight.
What he and Kobus Wiese in particular have done is get up there fast to take the ball from a forward who's committed, and Eastern Province haven't had much counter for it. They've battled to contain him.
Lovely little kick through from Rian Potita there. He's under something of an injury cloud before the game, but he's come through fine. There he is, and he's perhaps outshone Martin Knutse this evening.
Rian Potita. Of course, Knutse came from Transvaal, was one of the good players in Transvaal just before they had the glory of last year and the year before.
2 hands from Kobus Wiese, but lifting. A free kick. And it looks like we're going to get some adventure down the right-hand side. Alistair Coetzee calling the shots.
Interesting that he's calling the shots, although he wasn't even in the original team, and wonders if there's enough direction there for these incidents. They weren't sure what they were doing.
Nico Meyer eventually emerging with the ball. Now it comes along the line. Martin Knutse runs into a red and white wall.
Transvaal forwards there in numbers, and the Eastern Province forwards are lagging.
Referee deciding very quickly that ball wasn't coming out and awarding the put-in for Transvaal.
Looks as if a lot of the fight has gone out of the Eastern Province scrum. Certainly they've been worn down by that front row.
Johan Roux under pressure, but gets the ball away beautifully. Francois Langeberg opts for the quick restart. Hasn't really done Greg Miller a great service, but he's managed to clean it up to an extent. Gavin Johnson wasn't inside his 22, so no mark. And well won on the ground there by Martin Knutse.
Transvaal offsides there.
And the ball rather too slow in reaching the backs. This little chip and chase, I think, is going to be in vain. Gavin Johnson putting the ball into touch.
Eastern Province had to do that. They had to try the quick throw in because they've got to try things now. They're 20 points behind, 10 minutes to go. Got to try and take Transvaal by surprise. But Transvaal is showing just how composed and controlled they can be. They're playing percentage stuff. They're not overdoing it, not straining themselves. Very much in control of the match. Scored the tries that mattered.
Martin Knutse, who started that movement by winning the loose ball. Francois Pinard down again. We were talking about whether he could last a game this year, David, earlier in the night series.
Well, he himself was saying that one of the criticisms of him was that he didn't seem to be able to finish a match. And long season ahead, you don't want to take chances, but he's certainly been in the thick of it tonight.
Kirsten looks as if he's been in a game, doesn't he?
A little bit of a lack of direction here with Eastern Province. When they've had penalties in an attacking position, they haven't been sure what to do, and line-out calls seem a bit confused.
Alistair Coetzee feeds his line. All done a little bit too statically. Martin Knutse trying his best to feed the ball out and does so, but there's been a knock-on. And the referee will give the put into Transvaal.
Eastern Province had that ball but lost control. Whereas Transvaal, as the match has gone on, particularly in the second half, have increasingly shown that they are able to control the game.
9 minutes left. There's the scoreline. And LaRue taking his time, perhaps too much time, some might say, and still he hasn't found touch.
For another match, that might be very expensive, but Eastern Province haven't been able to penalise him for it.
Trying desperately to find some space. Rian Potita finds Tony Marco. Steaming up comes Martin Knutse. Tony Marco again down the right-hand side is tackled into touch by Peter Hendricks. And Hendricks wants to get the game going again quickly, but I'm sure if Francois Pienaar had been there, he would have said stop.
This was nice interplay with the Eastern Province backs, and they've been threatening to do this for a lot of the game, but they haven't been able to get the ball because their forwards haven't dominated. That's an excellent tackle there by Peter Hendricks, and it wasn't far from the Transvaal line. That's the Transvaal try line that you see in the corner there.
Schmidt up in the scrum half
and his fly half. No touch.
Nothing the matter. Well cut.
Getting a bit scrappy now because Eastern Province can't seem to see a way through for themselves. They've had some nice moves, some nice runs. Transvaal have always had someone there to make the tackle, shut them out. They must be very frustrated now. Only 7 minutes to go. Referee's not giving a scrum. There's Griswali, the former All Black. He's had a huge impact on Eastern Province's ruck and maul play. They were very impressive, particularly in the first half tonight. But their overall pattern, a lot of work still to be done. They haven't been able to penetrate, certainly at this level, the defences of a side like Transvaal. They haven't given up. They're still committed to running and attacking. Schmidt playing in a right wing position, covering the touchline. Well, we saw, there's Ollie Schmidt also. He ran all of 50 metres there to pressurise the kicker. There goes Henry LaRue.
There goes Henry LaRue. And this must be a try for Jaco Lowe. Yes, it is. Jaco Lowe, who rounded off the game on Tuesday with a try, has done it again.
Eastern Province paid the penalty there for not making touch. Their forwards stopped running. The backs assumed that there would be a line-out or something somewhere down the field, and Transvaal simply counter-attack, which we should see now. There they come. Johan Roux gets it out to Henry LaRue, who evades 2 players there. Jinking again, gets past Alistair Coetzee. Coetzee's had a good game, but he couldn't get Henry LaRue. Perfectly timed pass, and through he comes there. And that was a try that was always going to be on because Eastern Province actually stopped playing. The try there by Jaco Lowe, who scored a brilliant try against Western Province as well, so he's had a very good week. Well, Eastern Province are out of this game now. It's now coming up to 30 points to 3. What we saw there also was the genius of Henry LaRue. Another player might have got tackled earlier, might not have timed the pass as quickly. And here we see him evading those tackles and getting the pass out to Jaco Lowe just after this, timing it perfectly with an Eastern Province 2 players coming across to get him.
Now the restart. got Andries Farie on the field for Eastern Province now. Not sure who's gone off.
Well, straight in front of Eastern Province is that big scoreboard with the score at 30 points to 3, and it's a bit hopeless now for them.
Rock solid scrum, as we've had all night from Transvaal. Henny LaRue looks full of life now, doesn't he?
Able to stay on his feet too. Strong. Penalty route.
Oh, and another knock forward. Gavin Johnson, the culprit this time.
Transvaal can afford mistakes like that now. They can afford to take risks and make the odd knock.
Well, Transvaal, apart from the prize money tonight, are 10,000 rand richer thanks to scoring 4 tries. 2,500 rand a try this evening. Nice work if you can get it.
We were saying earlier, Andy, that the rain might have suited Eastern Province, but Transvaal's control was simply too great.
So Martin Mostert has been repaired. As you can see, that Eastern Province scrum is under all sorts of pressure. Oh, a lovely piece of running from Henny LaRue again.
High tackle.
Pace.
High tackle there. Could get a penalty.
The referee has seen it. It's a quick one. Rudolf Stroili gets the hospital pass, but here comes Peter Hendricks looking for some space. Does very well to stay on his feet, but it's poached by Rian Potita. There goes Nico Mayer, Willie Mayer, I should say. And the whistle has gone again. Over the top.
The referee has a strange interpretation of where penalties should be taken from. He seems to think they can be taken from anywhere. That last one was taken miles away from the spot. And it doesn't appear to matter if players from the side taking the penalty are in front of the ball.
Rian Potita injured in the tackle. Well, it's been a hard match for Eastern Province. Looks like they might lose their 3rd player, and that doesn't look at all good. Lucky George there on the right of your screen with Terry de Villiers, the CEO of Mnet. Lucky George is standing in for Louis Late this evening as the Vice President of SAFU. Louis is in London for a very important meeting with the International Rugby Board.
That leg looks a bit as if it's out of joint, certainly in pain.
Well, the 3rd replacement comes on, and it's Mark Wood. They've already used the 2 back replacements, so they've had to bring on a forward. Doesn't really matter at this stage of the game.
Always unpleasant to be injured in the last minute of the game.
Gavin Johnson's kick is over, and the score 33 points to 3. We've got just a minute left.
Pienaar's had a good game, been everywhere tonight, played often in the fly half centre position from broken play and set up good driving play, breaking the advantage line.
Going again. And Transvaal looking stronger as the game goes on. Francois Pienaar screaming for the ball and eventually getting it. Johan LaRue does very well indeed to get that ball in the air. There is the final whistle, and Transvaal have successfully retained the Supersport Ford Night Series trophy. They've beaten Eastern Province by 33 points to 3. There's the winning captain. There's no doubt that Transvaal were the better team on the night, and they will look forward to the Super 10 competition with a great deal of spirit and a great chance, I think, of retaining that trophy as well.
They must, and clearly with this series there was no other team in it, really. Both Western Province and Eastern Province looked as if they wanted to make a match of it in the semi-finals and the final, and in each case Transvaal has been the only team, and I think they've had capacity to spare. They haven't used up all their resources in these victories in this series.
It was Visa who scored 2 tries in the first half. There are the first half scorers. You can see Obus Visa going over from short range in both occasions. Greville actually put Eastern Province ahead in the 12th minute, but that was the last time that they scored in the match.
Visa also been looking very strong and fit for this early in the season. He looks as if he's enjoying himself, looking strong. Willie Schmidt behind him there, been playing all over the field tonight. Scrum half, fly half, and one occasion he was out on the wing, fielded the ball there and kicked it into touch.
Bottom left of your screen, there's Theo van Rensburg, a Springbok, of course, who's been on the bench throughout the night series, and he is gradually finding his way back to full fitness. And isn't it wonderful to have such strength in depth, to be able to have someone as good as Theo van Rensburg on the bench?
Not many teams can afford to have the Springbok fullback on the bench. He's now going forward for the 5th trophy from the beginning of last season. This is also even better than last year because they shared it with Northerns last year. This is a convincing win.
See those 2 tries in the second half. In fact, the second try was Jaco Low and not Johan Roux.
As that indicates, Roux has had a good game. Battled to control the wet ball for much of it. Did very well.
The stats, as you can see, the lineouts were fairly even. The scrums, I fancy, were less even than those statistics would suggest.
In fact, a lot of the scrums simply fell apart, and Eastern Province certainly dominated by Transvaal in the scrums.
Well, now through the Transvaal Rugby Football Union, we're going to show you the presentation, and we'll go down there, where hopefully in a while Arnold Ketz will be talking to us.
1, 2, just okay. Open this tester rifle. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Don't forget then, we want your man of the match and man of the series this evening. The lines are open now. 089 110 4321. £2,000 on offer from Ford for the man of the series and £1,000 for the man of the match. There's the trophy that we've been playing for over the last 10 days. And let's go down to Arnold Ketz.
One, two. 1, 2, 1, 2. Transvaal Pienaar, and for the second year they repeat as the Supersport Ford Night Series winners, and you can hear how great the applause is up here. Let's also ask Mr. Muleleki George, the acting president of SAFU, to join us up here, as well as the CEO of Mnet, Mr. Harry de Villiers, and the marketing director of Ford to join us up here as well. And I think what we're going to be doing is Mr. Mutlow, there it goes, through to Mr. de Villiers and through to Mr. George, and to be crowned as the 1994 Supersport Ford Night Series winners.